Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well. So this is taking me like a week and a half to put out this video, but it needs to be done. Okay, so one morning I woke up and all I heard in the spirit was, I hate my therapist. I hate my therapist. Okay, and I knew exactly what that meant. I don't have a therapist, so I knew that that message wasn't for me. But what that message was, it was God's way of saying to me, go back into your favorites and pull up the article that you had saved about a year and a half ago or something like that, and give this message. Okay, so about a year and a half ago, I read an article and I saved it. This was even before I had a platform. I saved it and it titled, I don't know why I thought it was titled I Hate My Therapist, but I think it actually is titled Patient Obsessed with Their Therapist. Yeah. So this is something that God wanted me to talk about. I'm not super comfortable with talking about it, but you know, I've kind of dabbled a little bit in my other videos about, you know, people watching you and stuff like that. So I'm okay with talking about it now. So I'm going to read this. Okay, so this is a patient who wrote this article, and I'm so glad she did, because we kind of need to hear from the other side. All right, I'm going to read this. It's a short article, so yeah, just pay attention, listen, watch this video till the end. All right, guys, because I do believe that there's some important information in here that you or someone else can use. Okay, so it says, being obsessed with my therapist was very painful and confusing. It was very lonely and humiliating. Who can you tell about such things? Nobody. When I entered therapy, I had no idea any of this would happen. Before coming to therapy, I had never experienced the care and attention that my therapist offered. She was warm, kind, and attentive. It was intoxicating. Leaving the safety of her office and returning to my life as it was then felt like withdrawal, like a junkie without her fix. I was Jonasing for this woman I barely know. Some of what I longed for was maternal, a perfect mom. Some was more like a schoolgirl crush. And there was a bit of competitive, jealous resentment that she was perfect and I was inferior. It started with waiting, watching her as she left her office in the evenings, then following her home, then stalking her on the internet. This eventually consumed my life. I was filled with shame. I was invading her privacy when she was only trying to help me. I felt extremely guilty about it, ashamed. Actually, it was bittersweet. As I sat outside of her house or her office, I felt filled up. Being near her filled up that dark hole inside of me. It was very satisfying. But being near her also magnified the differences between us. Her life seemed so perfect, and mine was anything but. It was as if that dark hole would get filled up, but then I'd pour corrosive inside to destroy any and everything. A mix of pleasure and punishment. I knew I needed to tell her, but I couldn't bring myself to it. I was very worried that she would throw me away, very worried. I decided to ask her to read the book One Child by Tori Hayden. In the book, there is a severely abused and neglected student that Tori, the teacher, fosters a healing relationship with. Sheila, the student, experiences strong feeling for Tori as they develop a special bond. The story illustrated my feelings that I was not yet able to articulate. After my therapist read the book, it was much easier to talk about Sheila-like feelings than about transference, obsession, or stalking. My therapist was very understanding and reassured me that we would work to resolve these feelings. We talked a lot about boundaries to keep us both safe. Even after it was out in the open and discussed, the feelings continued and they grew more intense. I was spending a great deal of time sitting outside of her house. At one point, my therapist was kind but very firm with me. She said it had to stop. She was very concerned. I agreed to stop, but I had no clue how to stop. I decided to write a story about a little girl who had no parents or love and a woman who saved her. I'd write a chapter whenever I had the urge to be near my therapist. Instead of parking outside of her house, I'd write. Then I'd give her the chapter to read. I wrote almost 40 pages, 40 chapters. Amazingly, it helped. Somehow, writing the story allowed me to hear what I needed. What the little broken girl inside of me needed, I discovered I could help her myself. Things began to improve. The urges subsided and then went away altogether. I haven't stalked her in years. I have no desire to. I'm far too busy living and loving the people in my own life. My life is filled with good, safe relationships now. I've distanced myself from some really unhealthy people in my life. So this is what it used to be like when I was obsessed and stalking my therapist. It was if she was oxygen, the only oxygen on the planet, and I was completely out of breath. If you are struggling with feelings like this, please know that it can get better. It may be very awkward, but talk to your therapist. Get it out of the dark and into the light where it can be resolved. Okay? I think this is a great article because for you guys who think, oh my gosh, this is so weird and so like outlandish, it's not. This is a very common thing, believe it or not. This is very, very common. And this is not just only with a therapist and a patient. This is with anyone who has contact with people. Anyone, if you're in a position, if you're in a job that allows you to be in contact with people, this can happen to you. All right. Why did God want me to talk about this article? I think he wanted me to talk about the fact that here's this therapist, right? Probably of the light, okay? This therapist probably carried the presence of God within her, okay? And it says that she was warm, kind, and attentive, all right? You know, this therapist was probably just being her normal self. She probably wasn't acting. She probably wasn't playing a role. She was probably very, very normal, okay? And this patient, she is not, I think it's a she. I think the patient was a female as well. And I don't think she was used to being around warm people, and she wasn't used to getting that kind of attention as she did with her therapist. Okay, so because of that, it became very, very intoxicating for her, and she became very obsessed with her. One of the point that I really want to point out is here's this therapist that was sent to help you, right? You went to the therapist for help, okay? And here's this therapist that basically God sent to help you, okay? I don't believe anybody should go into the job of therapy. I don't believe anybody should go into any kind of career without God leading them, okay? So the therapist was sent to help this patient, right? And even though the therapist was trying to help her, it says that she was competitive, jealous, and resentful of her, okay? Because she saw the therapist as perfect and she was not. She saw the therapist as very superior to her and her inferior. I'm telling you, if you are one of God's chosen people, you will be able to relate to this to the utmost, okay? Where here you are trying to help people, here you are trying to build them up, trying to help them with whatever area that they're trying to that they're having issues with. You're trying to help people, but then in turn they will compete with you, they will be jealous of you, they will hate you, okay? All while you're trying to help them. And this is what she stated here, Okay, the therapist was trying to help her, but she had all of these feelings towards her as well. So guys, I'm telling you, anybody in your life right now, or who you're surrounded by, who is jealous of you, and you know they're constantly just like envious and competing with you, it's really, it's one of those bittersweet things. Anyways, you know what, I'm gonna continue going, I'm gonna go on. Yeah, so you need to understand that the patient saw the therapist as superior to her, you know, and because of that, she kind of hated her. She liked her, but she kind of hated her at the same time, because she was just like, she's just perfect. And that's one of the worst things that you can think of about somebody. Nobody in this world is perfect. No one in this world, even if they appear perfect, even if it seems like their life is just going well, nobody is perfect. Everybody has struggles just like you do, and everybody has go through some of the same stuff like you do, you know. And it's just like the saying says, it's not about the load, it's how you carry it. Some people, you and another person can be carrying the same load, but somebody else carries it better than you do. Okay, but that doesn't mean that they are free from the load. They just carry it better. All right. So, you know, with this obsessive behavior, it brought some stalking and watching her and all the things. Like I mentioned in my last video, or my last two videos, I'm telling you, people will watch you, people will stalk you, will watch you, will stalk you. There's no doubt they will do that. I don't know what it is about God's chosen people. People become obsessed. People will be obsessed with you. It's your light. They're obsessed with your light. They're obsessed with the light. We live in a very dark world, and people get very obsessed with the light. And I'm telling you, they will stalk you. And hopefully it's not as bad as stalking you outside of your home. Okay, this article, it says that she used to stalk her outside of her home and her office. Plus, she used to stalk her online. Like I mentioned before, people will look you up. Once they know your name, they will look you up and they will stalk you online. Be careful, okay? Someone being obsessed with you, it's not something to be happy about. It's not something, it's not a good thing. Obsession is not a good thing. Obsession can lead people to do some really crazy things. Okay, so be very careful. All right. With the therapist, it was like bittersweet for her. Okay, she always felt like she needed to be near her, because when she was near her, she felt filled up. Okay, and then when she wasn't around her, she felt empty again. Okay. People can be like that with you guys. All right, it's like when they're near you, they feel like they filled up. They feel like you've kind of given them the supply, if you may, for the week or for the month or for the, you know. And that's okay. It's okay to feel filled up by somebody, but just know when it's turning into this obsessive behavior. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing. You're just like the patient said, she was left with guilt and she felt very shameful. Okay, when people are obsessed with you, they will be left with guilt and shame, and it's not a good feeling to live with those things. All right. So yeah, I really think that the reason why God had me talk about this article is because a lot of people have gone through this. A lot of people are going through this, and there's a possibility that you will go through this. If you are off the light, you best believe that there is people who will be obsessed with you. Even check out your past. What was your past like when you used to date? When you used to date people, or when you dated people, were they obsessed with you? And more likely they were. Okay, like your boyfriends or girlfriends wasn't going to let you go that easy, right? There is, so yeah, so you unfortunately cause people to be obsessed with you, and it's not a good thing. It's not like it's something that you're doing. You're not doing anything. You're just being yourself. But because people are not used to the light you carry, they become obsessed, they might spend countless hours trying to find out things about you online. I'm telling you, your neighbors can be obsessed with you, and it's almost like it's hard because like people get obsessed with you, and then I think it has overtaken them so much that at some point in time they have to almost like stop themselves and say like, what are you doing? Okay. And it's like they stop themselves and they have to like parent themselves and like arrest themselves, if you may, to stop the behavior and kind of live their life. Because that's the thing, when you're obsessed with someone, you cannot, it's like you can't think or breathe. You can't think about anything else but that person. It's unhealthy. It's unhealthy. Okay. I'm not giving this message as a warning, but this was very important for God to tell me this. He really wanted me to put out this message because I've saved this article for my own use, okay, for just something that I could refer back to. But yeah, it was something that he wanted me to talk about because I think that this will resonate with a lot of people, okay? So, just protect yourself, if you feel like people are doing a little too much, if you feel like you're being watched in public, just do what you need to do, okay? Because it can get to that point. Use your discernment. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you soon. Take care.